Hi, it's Kenny here from Triscribe. In this video, I'm going to show you how Triscribe can help you manage drug shortages in your hospital. So here I am in the main Triscribe dashboard. For this demo, I'm going to use the stock tile. First chart that comes up is stock history, which shows you the level of stock over time. That's been there for a while. But there are two new tables in this tab now. Stock shortages is a simple table that tells you everything you need to know about to understand whether there are drugs where there's a risk of a shortage within your hospital. In other words, a risk that you might run out of the drug and not be able to give patients the medication that they need. And as an example of how this is used, one of our customer hospitals ran this report before a bank holiday weekend in order to preemptively order drugs that they were at risk of running out of over the weekend. And they told us they would normally come back from a bank holiday weekend to 6 or 7 pages of drugs that they might need to order, where the patients maybe hadn't received the meds, and really quite a big backlog to deal with. Using Triscribe, that was reduced to just 7 items. So you can see, as always, this is about saving your team time, better stewardship of medicines, and better patient care. The table's relatively straightforward to read. It's just got all the information you need about the drugs, the name of the drug. The NSV code is a procurement code that's used across the supply chain, so it's really useful to have that exact code if you need to reorder something. The location in the hospital where it sits, depending on how many pharmacies you have or where those are. How much stock do you have? What's your normal minimum reorder? Do you have any current orders on? How much have you issued in the last week? And based on that, an estimate of when you might run out of stock, and also a date that says, when did you last issue it? Because, for example, this drug here, okay, you don't have any in stock, but you haven't used it for 4 months. So it's a rarely used drug. So maybe you're not in a massive urgent need to reorder that. As always with these tables in Triscribe, you can reorder according to any of these columns. So I think it's useful for this, for example, to take this estimated out of stock. And if I reorder that, then we can see which are the drugs that you're most likely either have run out of or most likely to be running out of most urgently, so you can prioritize your work on that basis. You can also, as always, export this data, either as an image or a CSV file, if you want to download it and use it for other work offline. And finally, like every chart in Triscribe, there are filters. Fairly simple in this case. You can use it to select particular drugs, or you can use it to select particular pharmacy locations so that you can narrow down your search a little bit. But this is all current data, so there's no need for a date filter or anything like that. Second table is a stock lookup table. And this has quite similar information. You see the NSV code there again, stock on hand, minimum reorder. It also talks about, is this a drug that's stocked? In other words, something that you routinely stock. It's in use, so that's similar to the last issued thing, and is it in your formula? And the idea of this table is almost the reverse of the others. So rather than looking for where are all the drugs at shortage, if you receive a notification or you hear something from a supplier that says, okay, we might be a shortage of this drug, this allows you to quickly look up and see, well, how do I use this drug? Is this something that I'm concerned if there's a shortage? Do I need to take some action? Or is it something that we don't really use or we use very little of, so we can not worry about that one and focus on something else? So the key to this is actually the filters. Again, it's not that complicated, it's locations, but it's really about the drug. So you can see on that table, it was all set to salbutamol, but I can do, and I can, as always, select drugs in different ways. So I can do vancomycin, and that will give me a different table which shows all the different forms of vancomycin and all the same information about these forms. But when I'm searching, I could also look by brand, or I could look by stock item, which would allow me to go and say, vancomycin, but I only want to see, so in this case, let's take the 250 ml capsules just as an example. So there you see we have, and in this case, we have plenty of stock on hand, so we wouldn't be worried about it. We know from talking to hospital teams, there's a lot of intelligence, a lot of information about shortages, and this allows you to sift that information and quickly decide where are things I want to take action, where are things where I don't, it's useful to know, but I don't really need to make an immediate activity. So that's it for shortages. Hope you find it interesting. Any questions or feedback, we'd really love to hear from you. It's quite new capability, so we are planning to build on it and release more features over time. And if you'd like to talk about this or anything else you've seen in Triscribe, then please get in touch. Thanks for listening.